When you think of a maximum security prison, your mind probably goes straight to a Hollywood action movie. You imagine constant chaos, loud shouting, and every single moment being a battle for survival. But the reality behind those high concrete walls is much more complex, much quieter, and strangely enough, much more organized than you might think. If prison was nothing but constant physical conflict, the system would collapse in a single day. The truth is that prisoners have developed an incredibly sophisticated, unwritten set of rules and social structures designed to do one thing: avoid trouble while maintaining safety. Survival in a correctional facility isn't about how hard you can hit. It is about how well you can navigate a world of hidden signals, diplomatic alliances, and the most valuable currency of all, respect. Today, we are going to pull back the curtain on the secret psychology of prison life and look at how people protect themselves without ever raising a finger. The first thing you have to understand about entering a prison environment is that you are stepping into a fishbowl where every single movement is being analyzed. From the way you walk into the chow hall to the way you tie your shoes, everything sends a message. The very first layer of protection for any incarcerated person is what we call the defensive posture. This isn't about looking for a fight. It is about projecting an image of being a non-target. In the world of the yard, being a target often comes from showing too much vulnerability, conversely too much arrogance. The most successful survivors are those who master the art of being gray. They blend in. They don't talk too loud. They don't stare at people. And they mind their own business with a level of intensity that is hard to imagine in the free world. This mind-your-own-business philosophy is the bedrock of nonviolent protection. If you aren't involved in the drama is much less likely to find you. But what happens when you have to interact? That is where the second layer comes in, the social contract of respect. In prison, respect isn't just a polite gesture. It is a shield. It operates on a very simple but rigid reciprocity. You give respect to get respect. This means never cutting in line, never sitting at someone else's assigned table, and never ever touching someone else's property without a clear invitation. Even something as small as accidentally bumping into someone in a crowded hallway requires an immediate, polite, but firm apology. In the outside world, you might walk away and forget it. In prison, that bump is a test of boundaries. By acknowledging it immediately and respectfully, you signal that you are not trying to start a conflict. You are showing that you understand the rules of the house. This constant micro-diplomacy keeps the temperature of the entire facility from boiling over. Another massive part of protecting yourself without violence is the concept of the card or your social group. No one is truly an island in the correctional system. Most people gravitate toward a group based on their hometown, their interests, or their background. These groups aren't necessarily gangs in the way the media portrays them. They are more like mutual aid societies. When you are part of a stable group, you have a collective layer of protection. If someone tries to take advantage of you, they aren't just dealing with you. They are dealing with the reputation of your entire circle. Most people will think twice before causing trouble with someone who has a solid group of friends behind them. The group provides eyes in the back of your head. They watch your bunk while you are in the shower. They let you know if someone is asking questions about you. And they provide a sense of belonging that keeps you mentally grounded. Let's talk about the economy of favors. This is perhaps the most fascinating way that prisoners build a wall of safety around themselves. In a place where you have almost nothing, being a person of value is better than being a person of force. If you are the guy who knows how to navigate the complicated legal paperwork, or the guy who can fix a broken radio, or the guy who is a talented artist who can draw cards for people to send home to their families, you are protected. People don't want to see the person who provides a valuable service get into trouble. By being helpful and using your skills, you create a network of people who owe you. Not in a predatory way, but in a way that builds a community of vested interests. When you have 10 people who appreciate the work you've done for them, you have 10 people who will step in and de-escalate a situation before it even begins. Communication is another tool for peace that is often overlooked. In the yard, there is a very specific way of talking. It is direct, it is honest, and it is devoid of sarcasm. Sarcasm is dangerous in prison because it can be easily misinterpreted as a sign of disrespect. When you speak to someone, you look them in the eye, you state your business, and you move on. This clarity prevents the kind of misunderstandings that lead to physical altercations. Professionalism, even in a place like this, is a life-saving skill. You treat the staff with a certain level of professional distance, and you treat your peers with a level of cautious politeness. This creates a predictable environment. Predictability is the enemy of violence. When everyone knows what to expect from you, there is no reason for them to test you. We also have to look at the physical layout and how prisoners use it to stay safe. Every prison has its blind spots and its hot zones. Surviving without violence means learning the map of the facility with the precision of a surveyor. You learn which corners of the yard are for quiet conversation, and which areas are where the tension tends to gather. You learn the schedule of the guards, and the timing of the door pops. Most of the safety strategy involves simply not being in the wrong place at the wrong time. If there is a vibe that something is about to happen in the housing unit, the experienced survivors are already in their cells or at the far end of the day room. They have developed a sixth sense for the atmospheric pressure of the building. They can feel the tension in the air before a single word is spoken, and they adjust their position accordingly. Hygiene and personal appearance also play a role in nonviolent protection. In a place where everything is designed to make you feel less than human, maintaining a clean, sharp appearance is a way of showing self-respect. If you respect yourself, others are more likely to respect you. Conversely, if someone lets themselves go and stops caring about their appearance, they are often seen as a target or a liability. Being on point with your laundry, your grooming, and the cleanliness of your cell sends a message of discipline. Discipline suggests that you are a person of substance, someone who has their life together as much as possible. This mental strength is a deterrent. Most people looking for a target are looking for someone they perceive as weak or disorganized. Then there is the vital role of the old heads or the elders of the prison population. These are men who have been down for 10, 20, or 30 years. They have seen it all, and they know that violence only brings more heat, more lockers, and more lost privileges. These elders often act as informal mediators. If two young guys are about to get into it over something stupid, like a debt or a misunderstood comment, the old heads will often step in. They use the weight of their experience and their reputation to pull the two parties aside and help them find a face-saving way out of the conflict. This informal justice system is what keeps many prisons from descending into chaos. The elders are the guardians of the peace, because they understand that a stable yard is better for everyone. Mental fortitude is the ultimate shield. In prison, people will test your temperature just to see how you react. They might make a comment or try to push a boundary just a little bit. If you react with immediate anger, you've lost, because you've shown that you can be controlled by your emotions. If you react with fear, you've also lost. Steady indifference. This is often called the prison face. It is a blank slate that gives nothing away. When you can look at a potentially volatile situation and remain perfectly calm, it unsettles the person trying to get a rise out of you. It shows that you have an inner strength that isn't dependent on physical bravado. This psychological resilience makes people think twice about trying to manipulate or intimidate you. There is also the strategy of productive isolation. Some people protect themselves by becoming heavily involved in programs. They are always in the library, always at a chapel service, or always in a classroom. By staying busy with legitimate activities, you remove yourself from the idle time on the yard where most trouble starts. It also gives you a different kind of status. You become known as the guy who is doing his time and trying to get home. Most people, even the more difficult individuals, generally respect someone who is focused on their future and their family. There is a silent pact that you don't mess with someone who is genuinely trying to improve themselves. Let's discuss the role of truth. In the free world, we often tell little white lies to get by. Your word is everything. If you say you are going to pay back a debt of 2 soups on Tuesday, you better have those 2 soups on Tuesday. If you can't, you have to go to that person beforehand and explain why. Being a man of your word is a massive protective layer. If people know they can trust what you say, you avoid 90% of the conflicts that arise from broken promises and perceived deception. Honesty creates a circle of safety, because it eliminates the uncertainty that often leads to aggression. Even the bad guys want to deal with someone who is honest about their intentions. Humor is another tool, though it is a double-edged sword. A well-timed joke can de-escalate a tense moment and humanize you to your peers. However, it has to be the right kind of humor. You never make a joke at someone else's expense, and you never use humor to mock the rules of the yard. Self-deprecating humor, or humor about the shared absurdity of prison life, can build bridges and create a sense of camaraderie. When people laugh together, the urge to fight diminishes. It creates a temporary safe zone, where for a few seconds, everyone is just a human being again. But what about the concept of staying in your lane? This is perhaps the most frequent advice given to newcomers. It means focusing entirely on your own path, and not getting involved in the politics or the business of others. If you see something you weren't supposed to see, you look the other way. If you hear a rumor, you don't repeat it. This isn't about being a coward. It's about tactical silence. Information is dangerous. The less you know about other people's business, the safer you are. By maintaining a narrow focus on your own legal case, your own health, and your own family, you create a bubble that is very difficult for outside conflict to penetrate. Sometimes protection comes from the most unlikely places, like the chapel. Religious groups in prison often provide a very strong support network. Even if you aren't deeply religious, being part of a faith-based community can offer a layer of social protection. These groups often look out for their own, providing resources, emotional support, and a collective voice when there's an issue with the administration. It provides a moral framework that others recognize, and for the most part, leave alone. It's hard to justify starting a problem with someone who is clearly committed to a path of peace and reflection. We must also talk about the lookout system. This isn't just for illegal activities. It's about general awareness. In a dormitory setting, you develop a relationship with the people in the bunks around you. You look out for each other's property when someone goes to the chow hall or the yard. This informal neighborhood watch creates a sense of security. Your neighbors will notice, and their mere presence is often enough to deter a thief. This community-based safety is much more effective than any lock or camera, because it is based on human connection and mutual interest. Physical fitness is often seen as a preparation for violence, but its primary function is actually the opposite. It is a deterrent. When you spend your time on the pull-up bars and in the weight pit, you are building a physical shell that says you are disciplined and capable. More importantly, it shows that you have the mental toughness to stick to a difficult routine. Most people in prison are looking for an easy mark. A person who is physically fit and alert is simply more work than they are looking for. It is the same principle as a home alarm system. You don't necessarily have to be invincible. You just have to be a less attractive option than the next guy. Education and legal work are also powerful shields. If you know the departmental policies and the law, you can protect yourself from administrative overreach or unfair treatment without ever needing to raise your voice. Being able to write an effective grievance or assist someone with a legal motion gives you a level of respect that transcends physical strength. In the high-stakes environment of prison, the guy who can help you get a day off your sentence or get a fair hearing is one of the most protected people on the compound. Intellect is a formidable weapon in a world of concrete and steel. Let's look at the psychology of face. In prison, you never want to put someone in a position where they have to act aggressively to save face in front of others. If you have a disagreement with someone, you don't call them out in the middle of the crowded day room. That forces a confrontation. Instead, you wait for a quieter moment, or you use a mutual friend to send a message. By allowing someone a dignified way to resolve an issue, you prevent the violence that comes from pride. Understanding the ego of others is one of the most advanced survival skills you can develop. It's about being smart enough to win the argument without having to win a fight. Another layer of protection is the check-in system, though it is often considered a last resort. This is when an inmate voluntarily asks to be placed in protective custody. While this can offer physical safety, it often comes at the cost of your social reputation. The real masters of nonviolent survival avoid this by using all the other tools we've talked about. They build a life that is so balanced and so respectful that the need for official protection never arises. They create their own protective custody through the relationships they build and the way they carry themselves. Personal boundaries are also communicated through the space in prison. Everyone has a very sensitive sense of personal bubble. You learn to give people a wide berth. When you are walking past someone in a narrow hallway, you turn your shoulder. When you are standing in line, you keep a respectful distance. This physical awareness prevents the accidental touches that can be misconstrued as aggression. It is a constant, conscious effort to be aware of your body in relation to others. This spatial awareness is a silent language of peace that everyone in the facility speaks fluently. The role of family is also a protective factor. People who have strong ties to the outside world, who get regular visits and letters, often have a better mental state. This mental stability makes them less likely to engage in the kind of desperate behaviors that lead to conflict. Knowing that you have a life waiting for you on the other side of the fence gives you a reason to keep your head down and stay out of trouble. It makes you value your good time and your clean record. Your family is your why, and that why is a powerful motivator to navigate the system peacefully. In some cases, the staff can actually be a part of a prisoner's safety strategy. This isn't about being an informant, which is incredibly dangerous, but about maintaining a respectful human relationship with the people who run the building. If a guard sees you as a person and not just a number, they are more likely to notice if something is wrong. They might check on you if you look stressed, or they might move you to a different cell if they sense a personality clash is brewing. A polite hello and a professional demeanor can go a long way in making your environment more manageable. Respecting the sanctity of the cell is another key rule. A person's cell is their only refuge. You never enter someone else's cell without being explicitly invited. You don't even lean on the bars or the door frame. By over-respecting this boundary, you ensure that your own cell remains a sanctuary. It's a collective agreement to allow for a tiny bit of privacy in an environment where privacy is almost non-existent. This mutual respect for the home space is one of the most effective ways to reduce daily stress and prevent territorial disputes. So how do all these pieces fit together? It is a complex, living system. A new person enters the facility and is immediately observed. They show respect, they mind their own business, they find a productive group, they maintain their hygiene, and they use their skills to help others. They listen more than they speak. They learn the map and the rhythm of the house. Over time, they build a reputation as a solid person. This reputation becomes a suit of armor. It is a slow, patient process of building safety brick by brick through small, consistent actions. In the end, protecting yourself without violence in prison is about being a master of human nature. It is about understanding the triggers of others and managing your own. It is about diplomacy, reputation, and the quiet strength of character. While the world may only see the headlines of conflict, the real story of prison life is told in the thousands of small, peaceful interactions that happen every single day. People survive not by becoming monsters, but by holding on to their humanity and using it to navigate a very difficult place. This reality of prison life teaches us a lot about the world in general. It shows that even in the most extreme conditions, human beings prefer order over chaos and peace over conflict. It shows that respect and trust are universal values that can create safety in the most unlikely places. The prisoners who thrive are the ones who understand that the mind is a more powerful tool than the fist. They find ways to protect their safety, their dignity, and their future, all while living in a place that was designed to take those things away. Thank you for exploring this hidden world with us today. It is a story of resilience and the incredible power of the human spirit to adapt and survive. By looking at how people find peace in the most challenging environments, we can gain a deeper appreciation for the social structures and values that keep all our communities together. The next time you think about life behind bars, remember the quiet diplomats, the skilled artists, and the disciplined individuals who are proving every day that strength isn't about how much you can hurt someone. It's about how much you can hold on to your own peace. Stay tuned as we continue to look into the fascinating and often misunderstood parts of our society. Keep your curiosity high and your respect for the complexity of the human experience even higher. Until next time, stay safe and keep learning.